So we are done with the first module. The next module is called as graph theory. So what is graph theory? For that we need to first go to the first module. What was first module? It was electrical circuit analysis. So if I take a very simple and crude example, we had a voltage source, let's say of 20 volts. We had 5 ohms resistor and 7 ohms resistor. We have, let's say, a current source here, right? So this was 2 amperes and this was 2 ohms. So what would we doing? If this network was given, the question was something like find current through 7 ohms, then voltage across 2 ohms. So if we find the currents I1 and I2, the network was completely defined and we can find any which value which is required, right? So this type of work is called as network analysis. Remember, I am saying analysis means a network is given and we can find the voltage across any resistor and current flowing through any resistor, right? Or voltage between any 2 points also we can find. So this is what analysis, where a network is given and we find the voltages and currents, right? But what if, so this is a very simple example. What if I draw the network like this? I am continuing in the same network. So this is 2 ohms, this is 32 ohms. I have one more loop here and I have a voltage source also. So this is 2 volts, this is 3 ohms, this is 12 ohms. Let's say I add one more. Again I have a voltage source here, 20 volts, 2 ohms, 3.5 ohms, right? So you cannot solve this by normal hand method, right? Because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meshes, right? So 5 meshes means if we are using KVL, you will have 5 equations. You cannot solve them using Cauchy also, right? So these networks are very complicated. So when the network becomes too complicated, graph theory is where what we use. So graph theory comes to the rescue when the network is very complicated. And how does it solve the problem is, it doesn't differentiate between a voltage source, a current source, or a resistor or inductor or capacitor as well. If you have them, I have just taken resistors. What it does, it will replace all them by just lines. Means we will have something like this only. This will not be there. Since it is a current source, according to graph theory method, this will be open circuit. For voltage source, it will be short circuit. So it will just graph them. It will give them some directions arbitrarily you can give, and then by some method you have to solve. So this is where graph theory is useful. So this is a basic introduction to graph theory. So now what is a graph? So what I have drawn is a graph. So let's just see an example using a simple network now. So graph is nothing but called as collection of nodes and branches. So let me take a very simple graph, and as I said, I have just drawn resistors in the previous page. We can have inductors and capacitors also. So let's have inductors as well as capacitors. So I have an inductor, then I have resistor, then I have a capacitor also. As I said, we can have capacitors also. Then I have a voltage source in series with an internal resistance. Then again I have an inductor. So let's say this is this is what is given. I am not naming them anything. So this is what a simple network, right? If you want to know the origin of graph theory, it came from the very famous mathematician Euler, and it originated in Germany. So there were somewhat like 7 rivers passing through inside a city. So someone asked, I want to cross all the bridges passing through the rivers in one go only without crossing each other. So this is where Euler, and nobody was able to solve that riddle. So Euler solved that, and Euler devised a theory called as graph theory for that. So it happened in Germany. The city name was Königsberg or something. I don't remember. So you can refer that online. You will find it. Okay. So I want to draw a graph for this. So what we do is, for resistors, inductors, and capacitors, we just replace them by lines. And if we have a voltage source, we replace by short circuit. and if any internal resistance is associated with sources, we replace by them by the internal resistance. So we keep this internal resistance, but if we have a current source, we open circuit it. Okay, and since old current source is open circuited, there is no question of internal resistance, right? But current source has an internal resistance in parallel, so that will be there, it will not be there. So same thing we have to do. So let's draw the graph. So let me first tell you what are nodes. Okay, so nodes are nothing but something which we used in KCL only. So more than two branches meet, that is called as a node. So this is my node number 1, this is node number 2, this is node number 3, and this is node number 4. Okay, next I want to name branches. Okay, so what are the branches in this network? Okay, that I can do it in graph only, so I can do here also, but since we are learning graph theory, I'll name them here. So anyways, you know the branches there. This is the one branch, and since nothing is connected here, so this is not a node. So this together is one branch, two branch, 3, 4, 5, 6 branches we have, and 4 nodes, right? So let's draw the graph. And what are nodes? Collection of two or more branches, collection of more than 2 branches, right? So let's start from node 1. So again we just have to draw lines. So 1, 2, this is the third one. This I can draw in a circular way, because if you draw in this way, it gives this illusion of nodes. So that's why we don't draw in that way. So again, these two are not nodes, so I can directly connect them like this, right? So I have all the nodes intact. So this is my node 1, this is node 2, this is node 3, and this is node 4. Okay, now I can name the branches. Okay, so let me name the branches. This is number 1. Let's say I am arbitrarily giving, there is no procedure as such. This is 3, this is 4, this is 5, and this is remaining, this is 6. Okay, and this is called as a undirected graph. Why? Because we have not assumed any direction of currents. Okay, so obviously currents will be flowing, right? So we assume the currents are again flowing in the graph. That is obvious. Okay, now let's say I want to draw a directed graph. Okay, so what I do is, let me redraw the graph first and draw it very small. Okay, so again, this is node number 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is branch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's say I arbitrarily give the directions now. Okay, so let's say branch number 1 is going like this, 2 is going like this, 3 is going towards node 2, 4 is going towards node 4, branch 5 is going upwards and right, and branch 6 is going towards left or towards node 1. So this has become what now? Directed graph. So DIRECTED, directed, or we can also call it as oriented graph. Okay, so this is how we draw a graph from a network. So this is undirected graph, and if we give directions to this undirected graph, it becomes directed or oriented graph, right? So now there are some definitions associated with a graph. So definitions associated with a graph. So what are they? So the first one is planar graph. So what is a planar graph? A graph drawn on a two-dimensional plane, that is our paper only, we can say. It will be planar if two branches do not intersect. So if I take this, if I take any two branches, do they intersect? No, right? They are not intersecting. Here they are coinciding, they are not intersecting. Intersecting in this way. If this is branch 1, this is branch 3, they are intersecting, right? So this cannot be a planar graph, or they should not cross each other. So if you are in electronics domain now, so you should know what is a jumper. So if I have a branch going like this, if I have another branch going like this above this, so it is jumping this branch, right? So this is called as a jumper in electronics domain or electronics parallels. So this should is also called as crossing. So this is also will not be a planar graph. So it is easily understood by a example. So let's draw it. So this is what again a planar graph. So this is a example of planar graph. No graph intersecting, right? But if I take this upwards, right, and if I consider this as one branch only, then it is what a non-planar graph. Okay. So one more example of planar graph just to clear the concept. You can draw it in this way. Okay. So if I want, I can name the nodes also. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Then you can name the branches as well if you want. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and finally 9. So no one is crossing each other and nothing is intersecting, right? So this is a planar graph. So second definition is obviously non-planar graph. Okay. So let's see the example of non-planar graph. So if it was not clear what we mean by intersecting or crossing, it will be definitely clear over here. So what you see here, these two branches are there, right? They are crossing each other, right? So still if it is not clear, let me name the branches and nodes, then it will be clear. So these are my branches and my nodes are, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 branches. So this I have named as one branch and this I have named as other branch. So the branches are intersecting each other, they are crossing each other, right? So this is what a non-planar graph, right? So this is an example of non-planar graph. So next, let's say I have a rectangle and I have a diagonal there, but I have a branch in between. So again, let's say these are my nodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So this is branch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this is 7 and this is 8. So again 7 and 8 are crossing each other. So this is also what non-planar graph, right? So then we have something called as subgraph. So third definition is subgraph. So again let me draw. So I can take the example of this only. So this is what a normal graph, right? So if I just draw this part of the graph, that is I just draw this. So what am I drawing? I am just drawing a part of the graph. So I'll name the nodes again. So this is node 2, node 3, node 4, right? And branches were, this is branch 4 and this is branch 3. So I have just drawn a part of a graph. So it is what a subset of this graph. So that's why it is called as subgraph, right? Otherwise I can just draw this branch. So if I just draw this branch, so this is node 1, this is node 3 and this is branch 2. So this is what a subgraph of this graph, right? So next, let's see. So next we define rank of a graph. So what is rank of a graph? Simple. If there are n nodes in a graph, the rank of a graph is n minus 1. So if there are 4 nodes, what will be the rank? Rank will be 3. Simple, right? So next we have tree of a graph. So next is tree of a graph. So what is tree of a graph? So I'll write the definition because it might be confusing for some. I'll take a new page. So it was number 5. So tree. So what is tree? A tree is a set of branches with every node connected to every other node in such a way that removal of any branch destroys this property. Okay. And one more thing, branches of a tree are called twigs. Okay. And a tree contains n minus 1 twigs, where we saw n is what? Number of nodes in the graph. So again, so if you have not understood, let's take again an example. This is my usual graph which I am taking as the reference graph for understanding all the definitions. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So let me name the branches. These are what? Nodes. This is branch 1, branch 2, branch 3, branch 4, branch 5 and branch 6, right? So this is what? A graph. If I want to draw a tree of a graph, right? So what is tree of a graph? It is a set of branches, means you will draw the branches, that is confirmed, with every node connected to every other node. So every node should be connected to every other node, means you should not go from node 1 to directly node 2. Sorry, not 1 and 2, not even 1 and 3, because you can directly connect them, right? What is it? It is a set of branches with every node connected to every other node. Means what is the condition? If you are trying to draw a tree from this node, it should be connected to the next node. So it is connected to the next node, here it is connected, here it is connected. So in this particular graph, even if you start from anywhere, it is that condition is satisfied. But what is the condition? In such a way that removal of any branch destroys this property. So let me draw a tree first. So this is my tree. So these are my branches 1, 4, 5. And what are my nodes? 1, 2, 4. This should come up. And this is 3. Right? So this is what a tree. So let's see whether it satisfies the definition. Every node connected to every other node. So this node connected to this to this, and this to this. So every node is connected to every other node, right? So that condition is satisfied in such a way that removal of any branch destroys this property. So if I remove branch 4, what will happen? Node 2 will not be connected to node 4, right? So then it will not be a tree, right? So since that condition is satisfied, so this classifies as a tree. So even if you remove branch 1, node 1 will not be connected to node 2. So then this will not be a tree. So that is what it means by removal of any branch destroys this property. So then what are branches 1, 4 and 5? So if I want to show twigs, so I show 1, 4 and 5 are the twigs, right? So I have written them in curly brackets. So let's take one more example. So I draw it like this. Okay. So what are my nodes? 1, 4, 3, 2. What are my branches? 3, 5, 2. So every node is connected to every other node. If I remove branch 5, 4 and 3 are disconnected. Right? So what are the twigs? 2, 3, 5. The numbered branches are the twigs. Right? So this is called as tree of a graph. So then we have what was this number? 5. So next we have links or chords. So what are they? Branches which are not on a tree are called as links or chords. Okay. So branches which are not on a tree. Right? So what are these? This is a tree. So these are branches on a tree. So which are the branches not on a tree? So these are branches on a tree. 1, 4, 5. So what were the all the branches? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So remove 1, 4 and 5. 1 gone, 4 gone, 5 gone. So what are the links? 2, 3, 6 are links. When this is a tree, remember. So depending on the tree, the links or chords will change. So here 2, 3, 5. So 1, 4 and 6 are the links or chords. Right? Then we have finally last definition. It is called as cotree. So what is a cotree? All links of a tree together constitute the complement of the corresponding tree and is called cotree. So all links, so what are links? Branches which are not on a tree. So all links of a tree together constitute the complement of the corresponding tree. Right? So this is my tree. So what is the complement of the tree? So this is my tree, right? If I take this, so what is not included? Different sketch pen. So this is not included and this is not included. Means this is my cotree, right? Because it is defined as what? All links of a tree. What are the links? Branches 2, 3, 6. I missed the one branch. So this is also there. So 2, 3, 6. So if I draw it here. So this is what my cotree. You can name the branches and nodes. Right? So this is what is cotree. And there is a statistic related to that. So it might be useful while solving sums. A cotree contains b minus of n minus 1 links, where b is what? Branches. Okay, and n is what? Obviously nodes. B is what? Branches in graph, not tree. So I'll write it. And n is what? Nodes in graph. Right? So how many nodes are here? 1, 2, 3, 4. So n equal to 4. And how many branches are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? So branches are 6. So 6 minus of 4 minus 1. So 6 minus 3. So 3. So what is 3? Cotree contains 3 links. Right? So what was our cotree? It was this. So 1, 2, 3. And what are links? Branches which are not on a tree. Right? This is what we wrote as links. So these were these branches. Right? So these are the basic definitions associated with the graph theory. So in the next lecture we'll start with matrices in graph theory. So what are matrices in graph theory? So basically we'll solve matrices in this module. Okay.